Hello, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of I Should Say That Out Loud. I realized in this new season I don't have an intro yet, and I don't say my title often enough. I should say that out loud or explain it. It's because it's in my brain, like I know why it's there and what it means to me, but I forget to say it out loud. I forget to tell you. So before I forget, the reason my podcast is called I Should Say That Out Loud is because I am an autistic woman and I have been all my life, but I didn't realize that I am autistic until later in life, until I was an adult. And I grew up with all sorts of thoughts and things in my brain and on my mind that I would keep to myself and I wouldn't say out loud. There's a lot more to that story, and you can read about it in my book, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I'm trying some new things today. I'm more casual. I'm in my workout clothes. I want to be able to show you some things about my story that I can't write about with words or on paper in a book. My book is about my head to toe surgeries and the life lessons and autistic lessons I've learned from all of those surgeries and procedures. But what I can't put in the book is my scars. I can talk about them, I can tell you about them, but I can't show them to you. So today I'm going to show you some of my scars. A lot of them are physical and a lot of them are emotional. I can show you the physical scars very easily. Not sure how well they will show up on camera, but I'll try. And obviously I can't show you the emotional scars because they're invisible. And it's kind of like autism is invisible. And especially for those of us who didn't know for the longest time that we were autistic, it was an invisible thing to us and to everyone around us until it became so well known and well talked about and well versed in social media and podcasts. And podcasters like my friend Orion Kelly talked about it so well and so thoroughly that I began to understand really what it was all about and how I fit that description. And other authors who wrote Autism in Heels and what it's like for women who are autistic and how it's different between men and women. That was a pivotal book for me to realize as I was studying autism for my son, to realize, oh my gosh, it's different for women and it's me. And I have all of those things. I have a lot of those things. Again, I'm all over the place, just like last week. And I was reflecting on my intro last week and should I have kept that messy intro telling you all that my thoughts are all over the place? I could have edited that out and made it shorter and more compact and professional, but I wanted to keep it in to be real and kind of display how my brain works and how frustrating it is a lot of the time. And as I thought about it, I realized an analogy. It's like when you go to the grocery store, for me anyway, when I go to the grocery store and I think I only need a few things. I need milk and eggs, for example. And then I go in and I'm walking, I'm like, and as soon as I walk in the store, my brain goes, what am I here for again? Oh yeah, milk and eggs. Oh wait, but I also need some grapes. Okay, I'll go to the produce first. And then I pick up some grapes and then some strawberries and some blueberries, of course. And along the way, I pick up a whole bunch of other things. And then I get my two things that I went there for, the milk and the eggs. And then I check out. And all of a sudden, I have this grocery cart full of stuff and a long receipt. And I spent a lot more money than I intended to. And it took, instead of 5 minutes, it took an hour or sometimes longer. But the point is, when I'm planning a podcast, I struggle to put my thoughts into a plan because I think I have just this small amount of things to talk about. And then once I get going, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta talk about that. And that relates. And oh, there's this book I read that shares a similar story. And I'm just all over the place. And I go from, I think, like a 5-minute thought to all of a sudden an hour of recording or an hour of even edited material. And and there you have it, my crazy brain. So today I want to give you what my book cannot give you, and that's showing you my physical scars. Why do I want to show you my physical scars? There's several reasons. I recently went hiking with my boyfriend, and he took a picture of me on the trail, and it's a pretty cute picture, but if you look really closely, there's a little something that I don't like very much, a dimple somewhere on my body. And I wouldn't say that I'm a vain person, but I'm very attentive to my physical health, and the way that our bodies appear sometimes can be pointers to possible physical manifestations of something going awry inside of the body. And so because of my past history of cancer and pre-diabetes, that I really paid attention to and made some major steps to reverse so that I'm not pre-diabetic anymore, and I want to stay that way. So I have to keep on my health. I have to be hyper vigilant about my health. I guess I don't have to be, but I decide to be hyper vigilant about my health. I mean, I'm hyper vigilant about quite a few things because of my autism, which it's easy for me to be that way. I realize it's not easy for everyone to be hyper vigilant about their health and take the steps necessary, but it is easier for me because of autism. That I can pay attention to things and I can overanalyze things, and I can research things. I'm so interested to research things and figure things out and put things in place in my life to stay healthy as I can be, because I can't control everything that happens to my body in this world because of, I won't go into all the things that can cause our food to harm us, even if we choose the healthiest foods. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, getting back to the milk and eggs of my podcast today. So my book, Autistic Revelations, talks about my head-to-toe surgeries and the life lessons that I learned as a result of those surgeries, as well as the autism lessons that I learned about myself as I reviewed my whole life story and all of these surgeries from head to toe. So let's talk about those surgeries from head to toe. The second act of the book goes chapter by chapter, each head to toe surgery and procedure. So I'm not going to be as in depth today. I will eventually go through each chapter in a separate podcast episode. But today I want to talk about the scars. So my first surgery in this list of head to toe surgeries is my eyes. I had LASIK surgery probably 14 years ago now, and it's supposed to last around 10 years, and I'm super happy with it. It's the long distance vision is still pretty great. I have a tiny corrective prescription now, but I can walk around without my glasses and be just fine. But I have these progressive glasses for seeing the computer screen and for reading. And because, with our phones and all the reading that I do, I'm needing to read all day long. I have these progressive glasses so that I don't have to constantly be flipping up and down reading glasses. So I am happy with the LASIK surgery. I'm glad that I did it. Like when I go water skiing, I can see the people in the boat. I can see all of the nature around me. When I go paddle boarding, I can wear sunglasses that aren't prescription, and I can enjoy the views all around me. When I wake up in the morning, I can see the alarm clock and the time without putting my glasses on first. So I'm very glad that I had the LASIK surgery. There's not really a scar that you can see, but when I get my eyes checked, the eye doctor, if I forget to tell them that I had LASIK surgery, they can see, oh, you had LASIK, didn't you? Because they can, with their machines, as they're looking close at my eyes, they can see the scars on my cornea, I think, is where they can see it. So that's my first surgery. And the life lesson I learned in that whole process is about having vision, not just sight vision, but like mind vision, if you can imagine. My second surgery is I had my wisdom teeth removed. And it's not, these head to toe surgeries are not chronologically in order because I had them at different, the age that I was when I had each of these was older, younger. It's not in order of age. It's in order of head to toe. So I was younger when I had my wisdom teeth removed. And my dentist who did it was a fellow water skier on the ski team that I was on in Florida that summer. And this story is not as much about the procedure of having my wisdom teeth removed, which that's in there, but it's more about the wisdom that my dentist friend imparted to me as he interacted with me and shared some thoughts and observations of just things that he saw in me. And I correlated that really honest feedback that he gave me as a friend, as a person, as we were water skiing together, to, wisdom teeth. You get your wisdom teeth when you're older. That's in when you're older is when you're wiser. And so that's why they call them wisdom teeth. I don't know that for sure, but I was thankful for my friend who was the dentist for being honest enough with me about what he saw that stuck with me for decades and was really poignant and important for me to hear from somebody. And it's hard to be really honest with people, whether it's family or friends, but it's important and it's helpful. Moving on from my eyes, my wisdom teeth, now to my shoulders. First, I had a corrective surgery on this right shoulder, on my right shoulder after I had a water ski injury in the middle of a ski show. I was in the swivel line and we were being pulled off the dock and it was a hot pull. Hot pull means that it was faster than it needed to be. And since it was a show, we are trained as show skiers to not fall, first of all, and to always have showmanship and show the audience that we know what we're doing it well, and we're having fun as we do it, and we're smiling, always smiling. And that part of the showmanship was always easy for me because as an autistic person who naturally masks my struggles and puts on a smile and a fake image of everything's great and everything's wonderful, nothing's wrong with me, don't worry about me over here, it's great, move on. So the showmanship, that part was easy for me. But in this instance, I should have let go because of the hot pull, but I didn't, because at this point I was already on this ski team for a very long time and it was just ingrained in my brain, in my mind, not to let go. And I did not let go, and I should have let go. And my shoulder was pulled out of the socket as a result. And then I let go because there was no strength left in it anymore. And I was treading water with one arm, as this arm was limp, and trying to tell everybody on the team, the other boat drivers in the audience, come help me, I'm injured, can't lift my arm, can't swim very well, come get me. And they eventually stopped the show, and I was brought onto shore, and the boat driver made the hot pull. He was also an EMT, and he helped get my shoulder back into the socket, and I felt instant relief from the excruciating pain anyway, but it still needed to be repaired. There was still damage there that needed to be fixed, and it was not fully functional. There was grinding and all that stuff. And so I had the surgery to have that repaired, the bone ground down and fixed and reattached properly. And they also found that I had a tear in my bicep as well, probably from all of the many, many years of hop docks, where a hop dock is when you hold on to the ski rope and you let the loops, the ski rope is wound up, and then there's loops, and you let the loops out as the boat is slowly pulling away from the dock. And then as the rope gets taut and it comes to the last few loops, then you grab onto the handle and hold on tight, and then you hop from the dock onto the water and ski away. That's a hop dock. And then in the ski show, you're in a line of girls. So there's girls on this side, girls on this side. And so you're holding on to the rope and the loops with one hand, and you're holding on to the other girl next to you with your other hand. And then you do this jostling of the loops and grabbing onto the handle at the last second, and then holding your body tight. And all of us hopping off the dock together and landing on the water and skiing away and smiling and making it look easy and fun the whole time. So after, I was on the team, 2 teams for 17 years total, and we would ski from May through September every day, pretty much. Practice was 4 days a week. We had 2 shows a week. So we participated with the ski team 6 days a week from May through Labor Day. Memorial Day through Labor Day was the shows, but we started practicing before Memorial Day. And then in addition to that, we skied on our own boat on our own time. So sometimes we skied 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And literally I skied every day for a lot of summers, from teenager to mid-20s and into my 30s. I did a lot of hop docks, and when you're holding on to yourself and the girl next to you, and the girl next to you is holding on to you, and the boat pulls you sometimes too slow, sometimes too fast, and you still hold on and you still make that hop dock, it gives a lot of wear and tear on your muscles, to say the least. So I not only had my shoulder repaired, but I also had my bicep repaired, even though I didn't know there was damage to it. So I don't know if you can see, but there's just tiny little, there's one right there and one right there. There's like 6 little, one right there. Yep. See, there's one right there, one right there. And then I think there's one, some of them have faded, but those are the 3 bigger ones that are still showing. So that is my shoulder repair. And the life lesson I learned in this surgery was there's several, I'm going to save that for my podcast episode about that chapter, because there's a lot of lessons in that chapter. Quickly and basically taught me to slow down and pay attention. And it taught me to let go of the rope. Let go of the rope when it's hurting you, but also let go of things in life and people in life that are hurting you. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot more to talk about in that one. My other shoulder, I had surgery on when I had cancer treatment, chemotherapy, which I'll get to that surgery next. But I had a port put in to this shoulder. You can see that scar pretty easily. And then a second surgery to have the port taken out when the chemo was complete. And I only needed 6 months of chemo, but I hate IVs so much that the thought of them putting an IV in me every 2 weeks and more was so dreadful. When they told me about this port option, I was like, yes, I want that. Please put that in me so I can have any number of less IVs possible. So that was very helpful for me to have for my chemo treatments. And then moving on down to my abdomen. So I had colon cancer, and this scar is from my belly button down to my bikini line and below even. I'll show you a little bit the top portion of that, so we keep it PG here. But obviously, there's a lot of life lessons when you have cancer. For me personally, my biggest life lesson was to speak up. I should say that out loud. Speak up for yourself when you know that there's something wrong with your body. And sometimes you have to speak up more than once and more loudly than you maybe are used to advocating for yourself. But here is that scar, just the top portion of it. And it, like I said, goes down into my bikini line. Pretty long. It's about this long altogether, if I were to show you the whole thing. Also, my other chapters that I talk about are my pregnancies and in this region of my body. I have 5 children. I had 5 pregnancies, so I have 5 children. I have 3 that I raised, 3 that are young adults now, and I love them dearly. They're doing so wonderfully and I have so many exciting things happening in their lives. But my other 2 pregnancies and babies, one I had an abortion and one I had a miscarriage. And these will be obviously very difficult chapters to read if you buy my book and read about it, and difficult for me to talk about when I do the podcast episode on those chapters. So I want to just be very sensitive to you, to my audience, and let you know I'm very sensitive to the nature of these topics, and I grieve with you for those of you who are grieving from the loss of a child at any age for any reason. And I don't want to get into the whole debate around abortion, but just want to share my story and my regret of my decision, and knowing now about my autism, which I didn't know about at the time. I could have and would have been more vocal about my ability to raise a child at the age that I was, in the situation that I was, if I had known about my autism and if I had been able to say that out loud at the time. Lots of life lessons there, lots of autism lessons there. Moving on. Next is my hip surgeries, 2 surgeries on the same hip. First, I had a repair of my left hip, again from a water ski injury. So in the same line of girls, we called it the ballet line. We would do the hop doc, all of us in a line. And then after we got past the crowd and did our salute and wave and smile to them, then we would take our handle and put it into, we'll put our foot into the handle. And this was called the heel hold. Heel hold. So we would hold the ski rope, not with our hands, but with our heel, not even with our foot, but with, so that, okay, fish, you're going to be my ski handle. We would put so, this is my ski handle. We would put our heel in front of the handle so that the handle was being held onto by just our heel, the back of our leg. So it was called the heel hold. And as you can imagine, fish, thank you. Thank you, fish. As you can imagine, the pull on your body coming from your heel instead of from your arms and your upper body puts a lot of stress on your lower body and on your knee. We'll get to that again next. It puts a lot of strain on your hip as well. So again, 17 years of holding on to a ski rope with my heel and skiing in circles day after day from May through September, and putting all of that strain on my joints took a toll. And I had pain in my hip, especially when my kids were younger and I would squat down to be on their level and give them a hug and say hello and say goodbye and comfort them. So squatting down to interact with my kids was painful. And my doctor asked me, how important is this relief of this pain in your hip to you that you would want to go through the surgery. And I said, well, I squat down to be on my kids' level, to talk to them and hug them and comfort them and love them all the time. And that is like the most important thing in my life. And so I want that pain to go away so I can enjoy interacting with my kids and taking care of them. And he's like, that's good enough reason for me. So then we did the surgery to repair the tearing that was happening in my hip. And when they did the MRI and the surgery, the MRI showed that there was something on the ball of the hip joint that was not perfectly round. It was like a bone spur, and the bone spur was tearing, grinding into the tissues in my hip joint and tearing them, and that's what was causing the pain. And this bone spur issue, this extra bone, shows up 3 times in my body. I forgot to mention that when I had my wisdom teeth removed, I had an extra tooth that was also pulled. Just one point. Not like a 4-pointed molar in the back, but just one point. Kind of like your front teeth, but in the back. An extra one. Like nobody has that except for me, because I have extra bone all over my body. So I had the extra bone, or I had the extra tooth removed when I had my wisdom teeth pulled. And now in my hip joint, I have a bone spur that they had to grind down so that that tearing wouldn't happen again in the future. And the doctor said that that can be genetic, which turns out it is, because my nephew, years later, who even was younger than I was when I had this hip repair, in his 20s, very athletic, healthy, fit young man, had the same hip pain, the same hip surgery, the same bone spur growth in his bone, and he had that repaired as well. So it's definitely genetic. I'll show you that scar in a second because it's in the same area as the hip replacement. So then, many years after the hip repair surgery that I had on this left hip, I had a hip replacement, which is, of course, another water ski injury. I was literally clowning around when this happened. I was a clown in the 50th anniversary ski show of the ski team that I was on. And clowns in show skiing is a very iconic part of show skiing, especially for the team that I was on, the Aquanauts from Twin Lakes. They invented clowning, show ski clowning anyway. And I had always wanted to be a clown in the ski show. And when I was on the team, it kind of was faded out of the show. And when we did this anniversary show, they brought the clowns back. And they brought the clowns back, and they invited anyone else who wanted to learn to be a clown in the ski show to join the clown group. I want to be a clown in the ski show. So I got my juggling pins out and I started practicing, and I practiced makeup and I got a wig and I did the whole clown thing. To make the long story short, my clown act was to slowly approach the ski jump, arrive onto the ski jump at a slow rate of speed, walk my skis up to the top of the ramp, and I had this plastic bat in my hand. Then I was supposed to let go of the rope and just stand on the top of the ski jump and wait for the next clown jumper to jump over the ski ramp. And then I would swing my plastic bat and like pretend to hit him in the back and knock him out of his skis as he went over the ski jump. We did it in practice. It went fine. And then in the ski show, again, of course, I hit the ski ramp, or I approached the ski ramp at a slow rate of speed, and instant pain. And I let go of the rope too early before I was even at the top. So I had to crawl up to the top in pain on my knees, and I was taking a really long time. And the announcer was trying to make this act that was supposed to be a quick, funny little thing that was taking way too long. He was trying to make it fun and say, and tell me, the clown, Clowny, get to the top of the ramp and you're on the wrong side, and get to the right side, because if I was on the wrong side, I would get skied over. So, of course, I'm hearing what he's saying, and I know I'm on the wrong side, and I know I need to get to the top, but I'm in pain, and nobody knows that, because who breaks their hip when they hit the ramp at a very slow rate of speed? Me, but nobody else. So, and I didn't know my hip was broken. I just thought I bruised it or something. So I get to the top finally, but I'm on the wrong side. So it's still a ski show. I'm still a show skier. 17 years later, I know how to push through the pain and keep smiling and keep entertaining the crowd. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this maneuver from the wrong side of the ramp to the correct side of the ramp and make big motions as I roll myself over. And I roll over a couple times to get to the other side. And finally, I'm in place. The next guy comes and I whack him, and he flies out of the skis, and the crowd laughs and claps, and the pickup boat comes to get me off the jump ramp, and I'm brought to the shore, and I'm in the worst pain, and I have other acts that I was supposed to be in that day, but I couldn't even stand on my foot or my leg or walk at all. So I was done. Long story short, which I haven't even made it short, but long story short, 2 weeks later, we find out that it's fractured. There's a fracture in, again, that same spot, the top of the ball of my hip joint. And because of where the fracture is, there's no blood flow. And the only way to completely and permanently fix it is to replace it. At this point, I'm not even 50 yet. I'm in my late 40s, and I need a hip replacement. But they said if they repaired it and put a screw in it to fix it, it probably would not last. The screw would probably break, and I would need another surgery, and that surgery would be the replacement. So they said, you can try the repair, and you're probably going to need a hip replacement anyway. So we could just skip to the hip replacement right away. And I'm like, I don't need a third hip. So that's how I came to needing a hip replacement in my late 40s. And I will show you that scar now. So it's pretty long, and it's not as straight and neat as my colon cancer surgery. That's the replacement scar. And then, I don't know if you can see that, but that's the repair scar, one of them. That up there is a repair scar. The replacement scar is on top of the repair scar in that spot. And then this over here is a repair scar. There may be other spots, but those are the ones that are still showing and I can point to easily. So those are my 2 hip surgeries. And moving down to my left knee, I kind of already explained that one with the heel hold, right? Holding the ski rope with your heel, again, causes a lot of wear and tear on your joints, hip and knee. And in addition to that, just wear and tear from doing the heel hold in the ski show so many times over the years, I also was skied over by one of the girls next to me in the line. When we finished the act of skiing around in 2 circles in front of the show, and then we ski into the crowd to jump off of our ski and present and give our bow and receive the applause of the crowd and do our little dance. In order to get into the crowd in a line of, it used to be 8, 10, 12 girls was a big line when I first started. And then by the time I was there for 15, 16, 17 years, it grew to 25, 27, 30 girls in the line. It's a lot of girls in a line behind a boat skiing into the crowd together. And so in order to have all of the girls hit the shore instead of sinking where it's deeper, hard to explain this without seeing it, but in order for all of those girls to hit the shore, you have to turn your ski to the right as you ski in, because you're skiing straight and the shore is over here. So you have to turn your ski to hit. So when you're skiing, this is my front foot, this is my back foot, your feet are pretty level. But then to turn to the crowd, you have to lift the one foot up and dig in with the other back foot and turn your ski. It's tricky. And then when you're in a line of 30 girls, if everyone doesn't turn in, and where did they go if they don't turn? They ski into each other. So long story short, I'm terrible at making these long stories short. But anyway, one of the girls to the right of me didn't turn her ski to make the turn. And instead she kept skiing straight, which was straight into me and straight over my left knee, which was already receiving wear and tear of the act itself. But then her skiing over my knee on top of the wear and tear of the act itself caused me to need a knee repair. There was some torn stuff in there that they went in and cleaned up. So these scars are really small. I don't know if they will show much at all, but there's one here and one here, and like one here and one here. I'm not even gonna try to show those little scars because they're so tiny. But there's like 6 little, not even a centimeter long scars on my knee. And then moving down to my toes, head to toe surgery. I had surgery on my toes because I have my big toe sticks up like that, kind of. And when you're wearing shoes, that are flat, that go like that, and your toe is sticking up, it pushes on your toe and it hurts. Growing up, I would put holes in my shoes all the time. Just that wear and tear would wear a hole in my shoe really quickly. And being a twin and sharing shoes, it would drive my sister crazy because I put holes in our shoes that we shared. And she eventually would say, I'm not sharing my shoes with you anymore because you're going to put a hole in them. So anyway, in addition to putting holes in my shoes all the time, it caused a lot of pain. And as I got older and became more fashion conscious and would pick out really cute shoes, even though they hurt my feet, and wearing heels to work and that kind of thing, my big toes became ingrown. And I tried all sorts of things to fix it. Eventually I needed to have those ingrown toenails repaired. And I also had another bone spur. In my right pinky, I had this pain and I didn't know what it was until I went to the foot doctor for my big toes, and I told him about the pinky pain too. And he felt around in there and he said, "Oh, you have a bone spur." I'm like, oh, another one? So extra bone in my tooth, bone spur in my hip, bone spur in my pinky toe. Head to toe bone spurs. What's with that? Is that an autistic thing? I don't know. But anyway, I had the toe surgery and it was so much more painful than I was anticipating, especially when I've had all these other surgeries. And I thought, well, I know what pain is like in surgery. I can handle this, but wow, lots. And then there was an infection, and that was disgusting and even worse pain. I'll talk about that in the separate episode for that one. But lesson that I learned with my toe surgery is, doesn't matter how cute the shoe is. Find a shoe that fits and doesn't hurt you. There are cute shoes that don't hurt you. And there's another piece of that I'm going to save for the separate episode. Very big life lesson, especially for relationships. I didn't mention all of the life lessons and all of the surgeries in this overview today, but I will cover those more in depth when I do an episode for each surgery separately. But that's my head to toe overview of my surgeries and my scars. Oh, I don't know if I can show you my toe scar. They are painted, thankfully. So they had to take skin out of the sides of my toes so that they wouldn't grow in there anymore. And that has worked. It's been great. I have no more toe pain, and I still have to be careful about the shoes that I buy. And I still have a lot of pain if I don't pick the right shoes, and I can't shop for shoes online at all. I have to try them on in the store. But I have a lot less pain when I have the right shoes. So yeah, it worked. It was good. It was a good surgery to have. So there you have it. I've shown you all of my physical scars. I've talked quite a bit about the overview of my book. There are a lot of emotional scars, obviously, that I can't show you, but I will talk about those more in depth when I cover each chapter separately in different podcast episodes. But I wanted to give you something on the podcast that I can't give you in writing in the book. So I hope that you will be interested to purchase my book on Amazon, and let me know what you think about it. Leave a review, leave a comment, talk about it with your friends, let them know, and encourage them to purchase it as well, and help me to grow my readership and ratings on Amazon so that I can get the word out to more people about autism and how it affects us physically, and also just to learn life lessons and autism lessons for all the people out there in your life that could benefit from these stories. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of my journey. I've said a lot of things out loud today. I hope you would let me know what else I should say out loud, what you would like to hear from me. Let me know in the comments, and I will talk about that in another episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. I appreciate you so much. Bye-bye.